Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe. Hey, good morning, everyone. Joe here with SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Joe over here on SportsGrid TV on X as well as YouTube. Happy Thursday, you guys. We had two games out there on the ice, and man, I tell you, did not go the way that I expected. I was riding with the Winnipeg Jets to be able to get the win in that late game, and it just didn't happen. Mikko Rantanen, definitely a thorn in their side, scoring a hat trick before the second period was even over out there. So you look at him, a hat trick in that last game for the Avs in the third period. And then you had 2 periods here in this game. He had a hat trick, 6 goals in 3 periods. Absolutely insane what Mikko Rantanen is doing right now, scoring the only 3 goals of that game last night with a 3-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Jets definitely need their lines to really start firing out there. I'm shocked with what we saw last night on that power play, going 0-4 on the power play. We know the Winnipeg Jets in the regular season had the best power play out there. They need to find a way to convert and hit Jake Ottinger in their next game out. So that is where we went last night with that game. I also was looking at Florida to be able to bounce back versus Toronto. It just didn't happen. The Toronto Maple Leafs winning that one 4-3. Now, they controlled those faceoffs 62.7% of the times, and it's going to be pivotal when Florida gets this one back at home that they do answer in game 3. Leafs fans know very well that their team can choke at any given point, and Florida fans know this series isn't over until they really do lose at home. But I do think Florida comes out nice and strong in that next game. So definitely something to look at. We'll be talking about those games when those puck drop days happen. But today we've got 2 games on deck. We got game 2 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals, and game 2 between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, game 1 between these two teams, we did see Carolina be able to get the win over Washington, but it was really an interesting game because Washington controlled that lead into that third period, leading that game 1-0, with Carolina getting that goal to push it to overtime, and then the defenseman Slavin getting the overtime goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. We also saw Carolina control those faceoffs 55.6% of the time. They went 0-3 on that power play, were aggressive with their hits, laying out 44 hits and 33 shots on goal. We look at the Capitals, though. What the heck happened here with this team? 0-2 on the power play, 31 hits. Shots on goal is the outstanding number. It only was 14 shots on goal for that whole game out of them. You look at Frederik Andersen, he only stopped 13 of 14, so allowing that 1 goal to come in. The Capitals did a fantastic job on the block shots on goal market. So you look at the Carolina Hurricanes, they registered 33 shots, but we also saw the Capitals block 32 shots on net. So if they hadn't put their body in front of those shots, it would have been what? That 65 shots, that 65 attempts that Carolina did put on goal, but those block shots coming in. So that's really going to wear down those defensive players of the Washington Capitals, getting in front of that puck. Their bodies are taking a beating, but they know they have to come out and do this against the Carolina Hurricanes, who do play strong hockey. Now, we know this team has struggled out there on the road, but now able to pull off a road win. It is pivotal for the Washington Capitals so that they don't get swept to get this win here. I don't see them getting swept. I do think they are able to get the win tonight, but they have to come out hard and fast in this game. So let's look at lines in this one. The Carolina Hurricanes, a minus 162 favorite. We've got the Washington Capitals at plus 134, a total of 5.5. Minus 118 to the over 5.5. Minus 104 to the under. It's surprising that we're getting the juice to the over when we saw in that last game a 2-1 win in OT for Carolina. You have to think, though, Washington is going to find a way to be able to hit Frederick Anderson in this game, find those shots. You look at Carolina, and so I told you about how many block shots the Capitals had at 32, and the Canes had 33 shots on goal. So when we look at the Washington Capitals, 14 shots on goal, and you would think Carolina had a ton of block shots. They only had 9 block shots in that game. So the Washington Capitals really did struggle in Carolina's zone to get those shots off on Frederick Anderson. And I do think they do a better job in this one. So I'm going to be looking at the Washington Capitals to be able to go over their goals today. It's 2.5. I know it's asking a lot, but I do think this is a 3-2 win here for the Washington Capitals. That's coming in at minus 125, though. You're going to have to lay the juice. Like I said, the books are laying a lot of juice here on props for the Capitals. I do think they have the ability to win this, though. So looking at them straight up on that money line, it's coming in at plus 140 right now. And I think it's actually moved to plus 134. It's a gift. So this line has been fluctuating a ton. It was plus 114 when I woke up this morning, went up to plus 140 when I got the bet in just a half an hour ago, and now plus 134. Money coming in on the Capitals. So if you like it, bet it before you lose the best of the number. I just think the Capitals still are the better offensive team. We know the defense here is nice and strong for the Carolina Hurricanes, but again, I don't think they can pull off 2 road wins in a row here. Now, they have been strong off of overtime, so if you like those kind of trends, Carolina is a strong team off an overtime game, but I look at those inconsistencies out there on the road, and I do think it's going to be tough. Now, with the Washington Capitals over 2.5 goals at minus 125, I'm going to stay off the first period. The first period under 1.5 goals, which did cash in that last game, coming in at minus 108. The over 1.5, you're going to have to lay minus 120. So the book's expecting a couple goals in the first. I could see a scenario where we could see these teams trading back goals or not scoring at all in this first period. If we have a scoreless first period 0-0, I will be looking at coming in on the second period over 1.5 at that point, because I do think first or second period's higher scoring, but I will wait until we see what happens. Now, if we do get a 1-1 first period, again, live betting situation, to take the under once we see a number of 6.5 posted, especially if these goals come nice and quick. Now, I think it's going to take a lot for the books to move that number. But if they do, I would look at it under 6.5 instead of looking at the 5.5, because I could see 4-2 style of game, 3-2, 4-2, and it's going to depend on an empty netter. And I don't want a total bet on an empty netter. That is for sure. David, yeah, I'm with you. It's got to be Washington to answer back. And when we're getting the Washington Capitals at plus 140, how can we say no? Plus 134 now. So we've got a great price on a home team here that has the playmakers who should be able to get things done. Again, I think they have the better offense. Matt, good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Glad to see you here today. And Rob, I tell you, I'm sick of Toronto too. They cost me money in the last 2 games, and they're just finding a way to get things done. Hall, good morning to you as well. So let's look at what else we're looking at in this game. So again, I'm taking the Washington Capitals on the money line. Again, I'm a sucker for that plus money. We got a home dog. I'll take their team total over 2.5 at minus 125. I think they win this 3-2, 4-2. Depending on that empty netter situation. Now, looking at the players that you can look at, I would look at the shots on goal market for the Carolina Hurricanes. When we look at the Washington Capitals blocking 32 shots and them still being able to put up 33 shots on net, you've got to expect those shots to come flying in. Now, I'd look at Sebastian Aho and Andrei Sheznikov out here, both on that shots on goal market, and I would take them 3+ shots on goal. You look at Andrei Sheznikov, and he has 5 goals in the playoffs thus far, and Sebastian Aho coming out here with 8 points. Those are the players I'd look at only for shots on goal, because I'm not going to take goal market here for the Carolina Hurricanes. I do think there's depth on this team. This team will spread that puck out and around, and you will see goals by maybe not Aho and Sheznikov, but I do think the shots will come out of both of them. Washington knows they have to limit these guys. Like, they know the top players. If we know the top players, so do they, and their coaching will know who to lock down. So when we look at the Washington Capitals, Dylan Strome has 9 points so far in the playoffs with 7 assists, and Obi leading with 4 goals. I will be looking at Ovi on the power play tonight. We look at that last game. The power play went 0-2 for the Washington Capitals, but I'm looking for the conversion tonight. Ovi is being so strong, even in those shorties. So Ovi for the power play goal. And let me just pull up those odds. I want to make sure nothing has moved for you guys. Ovi for the goal is plus 140. So if we just want to look at the power play point, which I do think is a great way to go over the goal, it's plus 170. I'll look at the power play point at plus 170. If you just want to take the goal at plus 140, I understand why. I love what Ovechkin brings out there on the ice. We know how strong he was in that regular season, and I do think he comes alive. Now, I think there's a couple other players we could look on the power play here for the Washington Capitals. Tom Wilson, I love. We're getting Tom Wilson at plus 300. He has all the value in John Carlson at plus 320. Those are the two secondary players I'd look at. I know you can look at Dylan Strome, and Dylan Strome's so strong at getting those assists, even on the power play, but he's plus 165. I just want a little bit more value. So I'll take Ovi. I'll take Strome, or not Strome. I'll take Wilson and Carlson, because if they're both at 3-1, Ovi is plus 170. So I'm going to look there. If you want to look at Carolina to convert on that power play, I would look deep, and I would look at Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall for the power play point tonight, coming in at plus 500, I do think is worth a sprinkle. We look at the last game for the Carolina Hurricanes. They went 0-3 on that power play as well. I'm expecting something to happen for one of these teams on the power play tonight. We had 5 power play opportunities, 0 goals in the last game, with Carolina getting 3 and the Washington Capitals getting 2. Again, I think we get a power play goal out of both of these teams tonight. So it's going to be a crazy matchup, that is for sure. We don't hate the Leafs. I don't hate the Leafs. I just hate when my money is on the opposite side. That is for sure. This is Bailey. Why are the Caps plus 140 and everyone is on them? Absolutely. That's what I question as well. But I'm not hearing a lot of people on the Washington Capitals. I'm hearing everyone is telling me they're riding with the Carolina Hurricanes. People are thinking they sweep. Now, the books have a lot of bias towards towards the Carolina Hurricanes, and they do overprice them, just like they overprice the Toronto Maple Leafs a lot of the time. So I'm not sure if that is the reason, but I'm kind of going back and forth with this one, wondering that exact same question. Stankoven and Blake are the guys. Yeah, definitely somewhere to look. Let's Jackson Blake for that power play point is plus 330. Now, I do think you could look at these players for 1+ points and kind of parlay them here. If you look at Tom Wilson for the point at minus 113, parlay it with Ovechkin at minus 166, you're going to get plus 155. I think that is a solid way to go. If you want to look at Carolina, Seth Jarvis has been an absolute beast. So is Sebastian Aho, but Sebastian Aho's point is minus 225. Seth Jarvis isn't much better at minus 184. If you want to go down to Jackson Blake, he's coming in at minus 115. Again, I would look at Taylor Hall. I really feel like Taylor Hall, with his veteran presence out there, is going to get something done tonight. He's coming in at plus 126 just for a point, and I think it's a great way to look at Taylor Hall tonight. Logan Stankoven coming in at plus 154 for that point, if you want to go that deep. And if you're going deep, why not go as deep as Brett Burns? Brett Burns, strong defenseman out there. Brett Burns has every opportunity of getting a point on the board for Carolina. Again, I don't want to take a lot of points for Carolina, as I do think this game is a Washington Capitals game, but Brett Burns coming in at plus 215. Really interesting to see those points only coming in at plus 215 with the most value out there for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight, because when we look at some of the other dogs on the ice, and we'll get into the matchup between Edmonton and Vegas, you're looking at those depth guys, you're getting like 3-1, 4-1 for their point, where in this matchup here, you're only getting 2-1 for these guys. So the book's kind of limiting their risks a little bit on these points for these players out there on the ice. Okay, guys, that is game number 1. Let's look at game number 2. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Edmonton Oilers did win game one. They're a plus 112 underdog. This team has won their last six as an underdog versus Vegas. Not a good feeling for the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas is a minus 134 money line favorite, which is a heck of a lot of juice to lay on this team. After we didn't see them play a full 60 minutes, after Edmonton just dominated that third period in the last game, I don't want to lay the juice there. I will be looking at a first period bet, but we've got a total of 6.5. Over 6.5 minus 112, under 6.5 minus 108. It's hard to take an under with these offenses out there on the ice, but at some point, we need to see these defenses locked down. And I need to see Aiden Hill play stronger between the pipes. And yes, he stopped 24, 28 shots on his goal, but I wasn't too impressed with the goals Aiden Hill did allow in. There was some soft goals out there, and I'm looking for him to really stand taller in this game. Now, Calvin Pickard didn't face a lot of pressure from the Vegas Golden Knights either, as the Edmonton Oilers locked down on that defensive side. Calvin Pickard only faced 17 shots on his net, allowing 2 goals on those 17 shots. So can we trust him here to really limit Vegas again, especially if the Vegas Golden Knights are able to put up 20, 25 shots on his net? How many is Calvin Pickard going to allow in? And it's another reason why I just can't play an under in this matchup. Even though that's the way it should go, this should be an under series when we're in the second round of the playoffs. Edmonton has the ability to lock down on the defensive side, and that's what we saw in that game, only allowing Vegas to have 17 shots. So 17 shots out of them. The faceoff was absolutely dominated by the Edmonton Oilers, 63.5% of the time. They went 0-2 on that power play, though, so Vegas did a good job locking down that power play. The Edmonton Oilers, which we know is absolutely deadly out there on the ice, and we're seeing the depth. So this team is led by Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, but the depth players really come into work for Edmonton. Corey Perry got a goal in the last game. Beautiful assist by Connor McDavid. I do have to tip my hat to him. Corey Perry was alone in front of the net because Vegas is doing what they should. They're limiting those big players that are the superstars, like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So they're all over them, leaving Corey Perry free to get a goal. Leon Draisaitl did get a goal, of course, and he got us at 2+ points. But again, if you look at Leon Draisaitl, he's continuously getting 2+ points. You're only getting it at like plus 120, plus 110. It's not the value I want. I want to look at that depth. In that last game, we did get the depth power play point by William Karlsson at plus 600. We're going to look at some more depth today for these playmakers. But we also saw Zach Hyman get a goal and Connor Brown get a goal for the Edmonton Oilers. So we saw depth. All of these lines are clicking out there for Edmonton. And for the Vegas Golden Knights, they had 2 goals, both out of Mark Stone, both in the first period. It was like Vegas showed up so big in the first period. So Mark Stone had 2 goals. One that opened it up was on the power play. We did get Karlsson there for the power play point, and then the other was just a regular goal. I'm looking at this first period to start off very similar. I'm looking for Vegas to dominate in the first period. Can they hold the lead for the full 60 minutes is my biggest question mark with this team. And until they prove to me that they can, I can't take them, especially laying that much juice for the full game. I'll look at Vegas in the first period at minus 130. I'll look at Vegas on the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal at plus 164. This team's coming out strong. They're going to be at home in the Fortress. They're going to be upset about their 4-2 loss. And you look at that 4-2 loss, you guys, there was no empty netter. So we can't even say there was an empty netter and this was a tighter game. It was a true goal for that 4th goal. The offense needs to find a way to hit Calvin Pickard. And if they do, they will be able to get this win. They have to start out hot. They need to rattle him. They need to rattle Edmonton, have Edmonton playing from behind, which Edmonton has done fine playing from behind. They're keeping their heads level and getting these comeback wins. So if we do see Vegas go up 2-0, you guys, a sprinkle on the Edmonton Oilers on the money line. If we're getting 4-1 odds, why the heck not? Edmonton has proven they can win here in the Fortress. And Vegas has proven that they're not playing a full 60-minute game, and Edmonton can get back into this one. So that's where I'll be going. I will be live betting it. I'm hoping to see Vegas go up 2-0, and then the ability to come even on Edmonton plus 1.5 on the puck line, because I do think it's a 1-goal game. I do think this one has every ability of going to overtime as well. So looking at the overtime bet between these two, it was plus 330. Just let me double check those numbers and see if you guys are still able to get it. You're able to get it a better number than I got it earlier in the day. It's plus 350 for that overtime bet, and I do think it cashes for us. So give me the overtime. Give me Vegas first period money line and puck line. Now, if you're looking at player props, I mentioned Leon Draisaitl. You can't deny him for the 2+ points, but we're not getting the value that I want there. I do think Zach Hyman is a great person to look at for the Edmonton Oilers to score a goal tonight. He's coming in at basically 2-1 to your money. Hyman has been nice and solid. He got a goal in the last one. For Vegas here, I do look for that conversion on the power play. So they went 1-3 on the power play in the last game. I'm looking for Thomas Hertl and Jack Eichel to step up in this one. If Thomas Hertl and Jack Eichel don't step up, Edmonton will win this matchup. Looking at Thomas Hertl for the power play point, he is on that top power play unit. He's on that second line. Thomas Hertl coming in at plus 260 for the power play point tonight. I love. Now, we know in that last one, we got Carlson, we got Mark Stone on that power play. Jack Eichel needs to get on that power play too. So I do think Jack Eichel would be another look. I like Hertl better. So Hertl has 2 power play assists so far in the playoffs. He has 3 goals and 2 assists. So 2 of those, both of the assists are on the power play, 5 total points. Look for Thomas Hertl to come out nice and strong. Now let's look at some more of those depth players out here on the power play, because I do think the power play is where you want to look. And another thing I'm going to look at here is Adin Hill. Adin Hill stopped 28 shots on his net in the last game. Edmonton brings that offensive firepower that just feels unstoppable. Only putting up 28 shots in the last game. I do think in this one we see 33 shots out of the Edmonton Oilers. Adin Hill has a save shot on goal prop of 24.5. Give me that all day to the over. Adin Hill over 24.5 save shots on goal. Now let's look at the depth players out there. So all odds are on FanDuel, you guys. You can look at the points if you want. The power play points is where I really want to look here for the Vegas Golden Knights. So looking at this one, Noah Hanovan is the best odds here for a point on that power play. He's coming in at plus 550. Thomas Hertl, like I said, coming in at plus 260 is my go-to for the power play point today. When we look at the Edmonton Oilers, if you want to look at that conversion on the power play, how can we deny Leon Draisaitl? Leon Draisaitl at plus 140. Not as much value as I would like. And then Connor McDavid at plus 330. Connor McDavid, I do think if he gets a power play point, it will be via an assist. So if you want to look at his assist prop today, it might be a little bit more value. We'll double check that. But if you're really looking for someone on the power play for Edmonton, I've got to go with Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard coming in here at plus 250. We're getting the value and we're getting him on that top power play with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So his ability to get that power play point, if he passes a nice one off to either of these guys or gets it himself, because he has proven he can get those goals on the power play as well. So Evan Bouchard is who I'd look at for the Edmonton Oilers, and then Thomas Hertl here for the Vegas Golden Knights. I'll look at both of them for the power play point tonight. Plus 250 and plus 260. And unfortunately, I just wanted to see if the books would allow me to parlay it, and they absolutely said no. Plus 250 and plus 260. If you can parlay it on your book, I would be looking that way. So let's just check Connor McDavid for the assist. Yeah, no, you can't bet Connor McDavid for the assist. What was I thinking? He's minus 265 for an assist. Like, that's disgusting, you guys. How is it minus 265? You got Jack Eichel being the odds-on favorite to get the assist out there for the Vegas Golden Knights at minus 158. And with how quiet Jack Eichel has been, I would not be surprised if he got the assist, but I wouldn't bet it. Now, William Karlsson, the books are not giving us him on the power play. Why are they not giving us William Karlsson for a power play point today? Well, because we cashed it in the last game. It was 6-1. So William Karlsson just for a point today. I got to ride back with him here. He's coming in at plus 180 for the point. And I do think he has the ability, and at plus 180, sign me up. If you can get the power play point on your books, please take it again because I do think the conversion's coming tonight for Vegas on the power play. So you guys, those are the two games. Let's do the recap, and then we'll do the player point recap as well, Mo, for sure. Yeah, Edmonton just continues to beat Vegas and are still a dog because none of us can get past the fact that they keep winning here with the weaker goaltending in Vegas. It's just mind-blowing. Jack Eichel and Thomas Hertl, if they don't step up tonight, Edmonton will win again. So if you just want to play the dog here, I don't blame you, but I think Vegas gets off to a hot start. So if we see the trend that we've been seeing, Edmonton fighting their way back in these games, you can take Vegas in the first period like I'm going to do and then come back in on Edmonton to get the win. So that is where I would be going. Let's do the recap here and then let's make some freaking money. Stay tuned for my Cup of Joe today, as well as the Madden Quickie over on the SportsGrid app. Definitely need some more coffee. And then join me on In-Game Live. That was what I was going to tell you. 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Scott Wetzel, I believe, and myself will be live on In-Game Live tonight, betting these NHL playoff games. So then you can come over there and join me and see where I'm going to go on some of these players, on some of these lines, and what we're seeing out there. Cody, good to see you here this morning. Okay, recap time. You guys ready? I feel ready. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals is your first game. Puck will be dropping at 7 p.m. Eastern. We saw Carolina win in overtime 2-1 in that last matchup, but I do think Washington answers back. They cannot lose this game. All the pressure is on them. Teams under pressure are scary out there. They can't go to Carolina down 0-2. Look for the Washington Capitals to win this game. They're plus 134 on that money line currently, but if they're going to win it, they've got to get 3 goals in this. Give me the over 2.5 goals at minus 125. I do believe they win this 3-2 or 4-2 because of an empty netter, and because of that, I'm going to stay off the total. When we look at player props, I'm looking at the shots on goal market here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Look at Sebastian Aho, Sheznikov for their shots on goal in this matchup on Logan Thompson, and Logan Thompson to stand tall. And when we look at the Washington Capitals, you have to look here at Tom Wilson, Ovechkin, and Dylan Strome. I do like Tom Wilson to be able to get the power play point, Ovechkin for the power play point as well, and that is where my money is going to go. When we look here at the Edmonton Oilers, the second game, puck dropping at 9:30 Eastern. We saw Edmonton win the first game of this series in the Fortress, and if you want to take Vegas to bounce back tonight, it's just too much juice on the money line for the full game, especially when Edmonton has won their last 6 as a dog versus Vegas. They proved they can win here in the Fortress. Vegas started off strong in the first period in the last game, and I expect the same sort of start here in this one. I will take Vegas on the money line at minus 130 in the first period, and then as well as the puck line in the first period, laying a half a goal at plus 164. If you want to put a half a unit on each, go for it. I'm going to put a full unit on both. So my ability to win 2 bets in one period is right there, but I do think Vegas will come out nice and strong to start this game. Edmonton has had some struggles in the first period. I'll look at overtime at plus 350. You guys are getting better value than I did at plus 1 or plus 330 earlier in the day. I do think Aiden Hill stops over 24.5 shots on his goal. So give me Aiden Hill over 24.5 save shots on goal. Give me Zach Hyman for the anytime goal here for the Edmonton Oilers. Give me the power play points as well tonight. Power play points for Thomas Hertl coming in at plus 260. Power play point for Evan Bouchard here for the Edmonton Oilers at plus 250. You guys, it's going to be a hot night out there on the ice. I wish you all the best in all of your bets. Drop below what you are liking out there on the ice tonight. Who are you betting? Who your favorite player prop is? We can look at the block shots on goal market, and that's one thing I want to do. Like if you want to go, gladly go, but looking at the block shots on goal market here for the Washington Capitals, I think is a fantastic way to go with them, putting over 30 block shots in that last game. These markets weren't up before, so that's why I didn't have these numbers for you. But looking at John Carlson to record 3+ block shots on goal at plus 190, I think is a fantastic way to go. For the Washington Capitals, look for John Carlson, 3+ block shots at plus 190. Matt Roy, another solid play here, 3+ block shots on goal coming in at minus 130. So you will have to lay the juice. Now, if we look at this here, the interesting thing is, let's move that. We can take block shots on goal market if you parlay two guys for the same amount of block shots. You can't take a 2+ block shots and a 3+ block shot guy, parlay them together, but you can take a 3 and a 3 and a 2 and a 2 and a 1 and a 1. So Matt Roy and John Carlson for 3+ block shots on goal each, parlayed together coming in at plus 413. I will be putting money on that. Jacob Slavin here. They only had 9 block shots in the last game, but Jacob Slavin leads the defense here for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's coming in at plus 300 for 3+ block shots. It's asking a lot out of him with only 9 in that last, but I do think Washington's able to get more shots, generate more shots, giving Carolina more opportunities to get those block shots. So he's worth a long shot bet here at plus 300 for 3+ block shots. Fun bet here. If you put all 3 of them together, Carlson, Matt Roy, and Slavin for 3+ block shots on goal each coming in at plus 1952. It's probably asking a lot. So let's look at Matt Roy, Carlson, and Slavin, each for 2+ block shots on goal. That's coming in at plus 297. Not the value I want. I would rather separate all of those guys, take them for 3+ block shots each. And that's because Matt Roy for 2+ block shots on net tonight, block shots on goal is coming in at minus 400. So putting him in a parlay makes absolutely no sense. If you take him out and just do John Carlson and Jacob Slavin here, 1 from each team for 2+ block shots, that's coming in at plus 217. Still don't like it. Not enough value for me. Give me Matt Roy at minus 130 for 3+. Give me John Carlson at plus 190 for 3+ block shots, and Jacob Slavin for 3+ block shots at plus 300, third of a unit on each. So you guys, I want to wish you a best day out there. I'm so excited for these games. Have a wonderful day, Bailey. Let's make some freaking money. The Caps played badly in game 1. Yeah, it was a heartbreaker. You got to take them with that bet boy, Tony C, with that great freaking plus money tonight. You guys are absolutely the best. Do me a solid, please. Hit that like button, hit that retweet button, and hit that subscribe button over on YouTube. Keeps this show going every single day. Yeah, that's a great way to look at those shots on goal. Even money for his shots on goal to the over. I would be looking at that as well. Those shots are going to be coming, especially out of Carolina, you guys. Carolina, I would take some of those players. And remember, the shots on goal, the block shots on goal are the 60. Actually, you know what? We're seeing the block shots on goal, not the 60-minute mark. That is very interesting. If this game goes to overtime, those block shots on goal count into overtime. We're only seeing the 60-minute mark on FanDuel right now for those shots on goal. So remember that. If this game goes to overtime and your player has 2 shots on goal in the regular, if they get a shot on goal in the third, it doesn't get you your 3+ shots on goal. Ovi's shots on goal tonight at minus 196 for 3+. There's no way I could hit on. At 4+, he's worth a look. Ovi's going to be looking to be able to get this win and tie up this series. But I would look further. I would look at Logan Stankoven here for the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 470 for 4+ shots on goal. Seth Jarvis for 4+ shots on goal at plus 280. I do think Carolina is able to bring it. And if you want to look at Sebastian Aho at plus 225 for 4+, I would put a third of a unit on each of those. Now, if you want to look at the Washington Capitals, you could look at the depth here for Tom Wilson at 3+ at plus 210. Connor McMichaels at plus 245 for the 3+, and John Carlson at plus 260. I wouldn't go the 4+ for the Washington Capitals, even though I think they're going to get more out there. I think you look at the 3+ market for the Caps, the 4+ for the Canes. So you guys, I keep going to finish this show and keep wanting to talk to you. We're going to seriously finish it now. All the best in all of your bets. I'll be back here tomorrow, noon Eastern. We got 2 games on deck tomorrow. We will see. Let me just tell you those matchups tomorrow. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Florida Panthers back in Florida. Florida is a minus 240 favorite. That's gross, you guys. At this point, I just want to take plus 195 on the Toronto Maple Leafs out of value in the line. This should be a minus 150 mark on Florida, not minus 240. And then you look at the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets, game number 2. Winnipeg a minus 118 line. That line makes sense. We got a total of 5.5. We'll be back tomorrow to break down those games out there on the ice. Until then, let's make some freaking money. Stay tuned for my Cup of Joe. Hit that like, hit that retweet, hit that subscribe, and join me on SportsGrid tonight for In-Game Live with Scott Wetzel, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then, you guys. Hit some anytime goal scorers.